every aspect of what you see on the earth will be there in space too very soon.
Yes, sir.
Elon Musk is already planning at least 1 million people to be on Mars in next 20 years. And such.
Space wars and something like that, like as we see in fictional movies.
See, the fictional movies will always have a basic element of truth also.
Yes, aliens, very controversial place, I guess. And recently I heard about Pokhran UFO sightings are there. So what your point of view on aliens? Does they Ma'am, do you believe in horoscopes?
Unfortunately, no. But I appreciate their the Panchanga.
So hi ma'am.
Hello, Mrugan.
So how is your retirement life going on after 34 years of service in ISRO?
Actually, 38 years of service I completed. It's wonderful. I mean, it's a different phase altogether, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I'm still in touch with what is happening with ISRO and going on. On the other hand, all my childhood passions, I'm trying to, learn and go ahead with that. And you will be laughing sometimes, even with small kids. I sit and learn music from a teacher.
It's so sweet, ma'am.
Many of these things I couldn't do when I was young.
Yes,
And I was too busy in studies and academics.
Yes,
I didn't do all those things. I always thought I could do later, sometime when I'm free.
Yes, sir.
So I'm trying my hand on all those things.
So basically you are enjoying your retirement life rather than your work life?
No, work was enjoyment for me too. And this is a different enjoyment altogether. Yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to do something different altogether.
And so basically, as I'm a medical student, and now we know that interdisciplinary aspects are going on. So what do you think as a medical student we can contribute in this space research?
Oh, plenty you can. Now you know human space program is there.
Yes,
And once the human in space is concerned, when the humans are concerned, their health is a very important factor.
Yes,
And it's essential that we understand the requirements of the space for the health, and including, a lot of impacts are there on the human body in space, including the mass, the bone mass, which gets lost, and impact on the retina, impact on the blood vessels, blood pressure, so many things. So it's essential that we have space medical doctors who contribute to that, and that's one aspect of it. Otherwise also it's essential that very good quality of medicines can be prepared in space, because you do not have any other particle contamination and all that. Such experiments are going on in a big way, so that you can make very pure form of chemicals, etc. So I'm sure, as you rightly told, it's a cross field. Everybody has a role. And the food, another thing, digestion and food, and what kind of food is best. A lot of food research also is going on. May not be directly involved with medical students, but definitely every aspect of what you see on the earth will be there in space too very soon.
Yes, sir.
Elon Musk is already planning at least 1 million people to be on Mars in next 20 years, and such statements you must be hearing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am, so recently ISRO has started Gaganyaan 2024.
Yeah.
So ma'am, what India is looking forward from that mission?
See, there are a few things we should think of it. What is it immediately we get from something is not what we have to look at. In the long run, what do we get? So it is a kind of a well understood reality that we have to explore where are the other habitable areas and where human beings can go. In the event that Earth becomes really unlivable for whatever reasons, and then you need to have a other place. So you have to continue the humanity and other species, not only the humans, plants and animals, everything. It reminds you of the Noah's Ark, right? Something like that we may have to do one day.
Yes, sir.
At that point of time, we must have the capability to do that. You think that today, oh my God, I can't live here, I have to go. It doesn't happen. It needs decades of research to do that. So the human space program is a part of such research that technology involved is very high when you have to put a human there because it concerns human life, right? The kind of reliability you have to build into the machines, the kind of environment you have to provide in space for a human being to stay there. These are all high technology areas.
Yes, right.
These we have to make sure that we also get hold of it. After all, in the world, nearly 200 countries, there are only 6 countries who are capable of doing these things, space activities.
Yes,
we are one of them,
yes,
right? So though our focus was entirely different so far, we all the time thought about Vikram Sarabhai's dream that we had to bring technology for the common man's welfare, how to improve his life on the ground. We have successfully done that. You take any department, agriculture, fisheries, forestry, mineralogy, any area, town planning, you take anything, weather monitoring, disaster warning, and disaster management, and communicating to the every corner. All these have been achieved. And this has really drastically improved the life for Indians post-independence. I want all of you to be really proud of that fact that India has achieved a lot. That is a history I want you youngsters to remember and pass it on to your future. Not about some king who, all those things are not required. You think what kind of progress India has made post-independence in the food stability, food security, whether it is industries, in all respects, India has done wonderfully well. Today you're in golden era, in fact, So I was telling you about the space. So our focus was on improving the life on Earth. That is how we had our programs, whether monitoring satellites, communication, remote sensing, all those things. Along with that, the scientific passion also was pursued. We had our Chandrayaan mission with whatever resource available, the best possible how to do those things and get a hold on that. It's not as a competition that somebody did, I also have to do. No, the self-reliance has to come by improving your technology.
True, ma'am.
So in order to have that self-reliance, all these things are required, including human space program.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it gives us a capability. Once you are capable, what you do with that, we can think those things, right? If you don't have capability, nothing can be done.
Ma'am, so what do you think from human space program? Some commercial space traveling agencies like Blue Origin by Jeff Bezos he started. Is it contributing something in space research? What do you think of it?
Well, see, one thing is, you just always compare like this, voyages. The voyages on the ocean are meant for transportation, people. But there are cruises for fun.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? It's commercial.
Yes, ma'am.
It's very much similar to that. Okay? And personally speaking, I think it improves the curiosity in human beings about space and interest in that. But it is not for everybody. It's extraordinarily expensive for somebody to go and come. So I think it is, rich man's game at today's point of view. But if there is an easy access, that would be great, right? So, but when they say space, they are really not taking you deep into the space. Generally, above all the layers of the atmosphere, around 100 kilometers. So, you call it as a imaginary sphere around the Earth. That we call it as a Kármán Line.
Kármán Line.
Okay.
Now, what is Kármán Line actually?
Kármán was a scientist. In his name it is put. It's 100 kilometers above is space. I mean, just to technically define. Otherwise, so they take you almost there where you can feel that lack of gravity and you can experience that. That is a very exciting thing for people. and you can also see the edges of the earth.
Okay.
The horizon you can see there. So that's the beauty of it.
Ma'am, recently Japan is working on a project called space elevators. Ma'am, is ISRO is also looking forward to work on such projects?
See, space elevator is not a very new concept. This has been going on for decades, and there are also some projects with tethers, whether we can put a tether and then, pull the things back, and all these things are going on. But it's again a part of reaching space through one way or the other. Today, we are more concentrating on conventional rocketry and reusability that we are working on, and then landing back, all these reusable launch vehicles, RLV programs. We are working on those things. And landings are very important because when we go to any other planet, how to easily, smoothly land and then take off from there again. We are planning on Chandrayaan 4 now, landing and take off from there, bring a sample back from there. So these are the things we are working on actually. Not exactly an elevator, but yeah.
Recently, SpaceX has worked on reusable rockets. I think successfully they have landed one rocket back. So how far ISRO is right now in that thing?
Yeah, we are also doing RLV experiments in a big way. We had one experiment, reusable launch vehicle. It goes in stages. You don't have to do entire thing and then do, because unless you prove the stage 1, you cannot go for the further things. We are doing it in stages, those things.
This year only 2 reusable rocket projects are done, no? I guess ISRO. I have heard about May and June, July something.
Yeah, RLV.
Yes, ma'am, RLV.
Yeah, we have done that.
Ma'am, always ISRO is known for, like, among youngsters also, we are very curious to know about ISRO. But we know it in very superficial level that ISRO is one of the largest science or space organization in the world. So ISRO is known for, like, doing in a small budget, and, like, do you think in small budget also our scientists has reached? If our budget is not a constraint, we can reach a higher level.
Yeah, if you have bigger resources, you can always go easily. But it need not have to be always true also. See, the creativity comes when there is always scarcity.
Okay, ma'am.
Don't you think so?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to do with what you have.
Yes, ma'am.
The best example is our Chandrayaan mission. When we did in 2008, the first Chandrayaan mission, we did not have a big rocket where which can give such a big thrust to the satellite and push it to the moon. But we wanted to do it with what we have. So we already had our small rocket PSLV, and then having that PSLV, how to ingeniously take it to the moon was a great thing. We could do that. Similarly, I mean, there are so many examples we have done in ISRO like that. I always quote to youngsters that post Pokhran 2, okay, and then we had the Kargil War 2, and after that we had to have surveillance satellites on the border with very good accuracy, but because of Pokhran 2, we had a ban. We were not getting the components, we were not getting the technology and devices what we wanted. But we took it as a challenge. We made a beautiful satellite called Technology Experiment Satellite, TES. 2002 we launched, I think, that satellite. And there were dozen new technologies. We said, okay, we will make ourselves. We did with what we have, and it worked beautifully well. And it also paved the way for all our future remote sensing satellites to do better and better. So I think with whatever we have done wonderfully well.
Yes, sir.
So one thing is you need budget, because you need to have resource to build something. But it doesn't mean that everything depends on the budget also. You need to have that ability to do.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the use of giving billions and then you don't know how to do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that resource ISRO has. That
Creativity.
creativity and enthusiasm to do that and never die attitude.
Yes, sir.
Those things are the real assets of ISRO.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, as you just told that Pokhran War and Kargil War, so nowadays advancement in war is going in a very high rate. So, ma'am, is like space research organizations can contribute to DRDO also of India?
Yeah, I mean, the defense orders how many satellites on us now, they do it.
Ma'am, like any space wars and something like that, like as we see in fictional movies.
See, the fictional movies will always have a basic element of truth also.
Yes, ma'am.
You might have heard of anti-satellite ASATs.
Yes, ma'am, I heard.
You have heard
Yes,
of that, It's, you can destroy a satellite
Yes,
sitting
ma'am.
on the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, India also has tried that with one dummy satellite, and how to accurately do that, we have done that. China did it and created a mess. It created a lot of debris in space. So when you do that, you have to do in a very planned, careful manner, so that you are not disturbing, you are not creating debris. Debris will be created, but it has to come back to Earth quickly. So we did that experiment, and there's so many things one can do. You see, it is like you have a knife. The knife you can use to cut the apple and eat the apple, or you can use to murder somebody.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So these are tools.
Yes, ma'am.
So the tools can be used in any way you want.
Ma'am, out of curiosity, I was just asking, like as we know, oceans have some borders. Like this portion will be of India, this portion will be of Pakistan. When we are practicing such like anti-satellite missiles and all, ma'am, what do you think? Like, is there boundaries that we have to cover, that this much space only India can do?
Of course, we have to be planning it very carefully. In fact, every launch, there is a launch plan. I don't know if you have observed the path it takes when it goes south, that is like a route which is supposed to take. It should not fly over any mainland, because in case there is a failure, it should not fall. So sometimes we may have to use more energy to avoid the lands near and go in a path which is a safe way. We have to take care of that.
Ma'am, means it is a concern. Like if anything happens, like our Indian project goes in other country boundaries, it's a geopolitical issue.
Yes, we should not do that, and that is why we take all the care. There is a mission planning for the rocketry, that rocket launch, how we have to do. That the trajectory is a very defined trajectory, and anything happens, and if you think you are losing control, there is a auto destruct command that you have to give that auto so that it doesn't go anywhere else. It will fall within that. It's a big planning.
Yes,
it has to be taken care.
Ma'am, you told about China debris thing, no? They
in space.
In space. So space debris is a problem, or like what problems it can cause?
Oh, plenty. Now satellites, if they get hit, the velocities are very high. For example, when you are somewhere near a satellite, it is going at 7 kilometers per second. Per second, 7 kilometers.
Per second.
In 1 second, 7 kilometers.
Yes,
that's the kind of velocity. So when this kind of thing is going on, the momentum in the smallest mass also is very high because of the velocity. Momentum is mass and velocity. So either the mass is very big, and even with the lower velocity, one momentum. Even if the particle is small and it has very high speed, momentum can be same as that. So these high velocity particles, if they hit our satellite, a lot of damages can happen. So there are cameras, the materials which are there, and it can even create a radiation effect on that, or it can physically destroy it. All these things can happen.
So, ma'am, how we are preventing it doesn't accumulate, debris doesn't accumulate in this space?
Now internationally, it's a big thing which is going on. So there is a agency now, coordinating committee, where India is also a active member. So internationally it is taken care, and now onwards, for past several years, you cannot launch a satellite without a plan how you are going to end the life of the satellite. It should be part of the plan.
Okay.
Now, if you are there somewhere nearby to the Earth,
Yes, ma'am.
like 600, 700, 800 kilometers, you have to have sufficient fuel so that at the end of the operations, you have to push it down fast. Otherwise, decades it will be there only.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? You have to push it down back into atmosphere and passivate and push it. So you can't have hazardous chemicals inside and
Yes,
all.
ma'am.
You have to passivate
Yes,
them
ma'am.
and then push it down so that when it enters the atmosphere, it will burn up. And then there are orbits like 36,000 kilometers, useful orbit, geostationary orbit. From there, you cannot push it down to Earth. You need a lot of fuel. Okay, that much energy you cannot be wasting. So what we do there is something called beyond 250, 300 kilometers. Beyond that, it's called a graveyard orbit.
Graveyard orbit.
Okay, it means the end of life for the satellites. You push it by 300 kilometers up, passivate and push it, so it goes away, clears the space around that. So these are all now mandatory things that we have to do, and we do it. Even Indian satellites, we always do those things. We push the satellites out after the life and all that.
Ma'am, as I was talking to you, I felt like scientist life is little bit stressful also, ma'am. I just heard that recently in Quora, I was reading a post where one ISRO scientist wrote that he left the job because it was like very stressful and work-life balance is not there. Is it true, ma'am?
See, stress is something very individualistic. As a doctor, you will know. A housewife's life can also be very stressful.
Yes, ma'am, for sure, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes.
So scientist life can be stressful.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything you do in life has stress. The question is, how do you cope with the stress? Okay, if you can cope with the stress, that's life, and there is no life without stress.
Yes, ma'am.
Stress is there. If someone could not cope up with that, there will be time pressures because our target times are very, very critical. We have to do it. There's a lot of work to do. We have to do that.
Yes,
but it's not uncommon. I have seen the same thing in IT industries too. There is pressure.
Yes, ma'am.
I have seen same pressure, stress with doctors.
Yes, ma'am.
I have seen in the hospitals how much stress. There are not enough doctors to the patient's ratio. There's so much. Stress is there everywhere. So it's all individualistic.
And as you said, we should know how to cope up with stress.
Yeah.
So can you tell some ways that basically for youngsters, how they can cope up with stress?
See, first thing is, whatever you do, your heart should be there in that.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't like it,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have to do it, I don't think you can cope up with that stress. Okay, first of all, you need to love what you are doing, or get into something which you love.
Yes, ma'am.
Both are okay. Okay, so there is nothing which is uninteresting in life. Whatever you do, there will be plenty of things to learn, new things, and get interested in, get excited, and do that. So first thing is that you start enjoying what you're doing, then the stress will come.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I mean, I shouldn't be telling would-be doctors about how to manage stress. I mean, I'm telling my formula. Okay, first enjoy what you're doing, then everything will be fun.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and doing more work is never a stress for me. If I'm enjoying, I don't mind 24 hours, 36 hours also doing that. If I don't like doing it, it becomes stressful even to do for half an hour. So these are very relative things. I have learned to love things what I do because I always find a way how to learn something new in that excites me. Okay, so that's how I could cope up with my stress. And of course, I had my young kids at home to take care of them. Work was very demanding, and I loved my work. I loved my children. I love my family. So we have to make arrangements. So what is it that creates stress? That safety of the children at home and nourishment for the children at home is a stress point. And bringing up them as good citizens with morals is a stress point. Am I doing or not? So if I know what exactly are my stress points, I can work on it. I can find solutions for that. I can find that in my absence, what is the best next solution? I can do that. Then at office, there is a stress that I have to complete something. See, the other thing is, you must learn that it's not you alone who have to do something. It's a teamwork.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, learning to be a good team member is something very important, so that you can solve the problems easily, and then going for solutions in terms of reviews, and then be open with your problems. If you try to hide any technical issue, it's going to be a stress point.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't hide. Be open. Discuss openly. Get solutions and happily solve them and go ahead. These were my ways of doing, and that's what is encouraged in ISRO. That is how we could, cope with any kind of pressures.
Yes.
And all that.
Ma'am, do you feel like hobbies play a great role in relieving stress?
I think so.
Ma'am, what are your hobbies that you pursue during your work?
When I was working, for me, hobbies were very restricted, because hobbies also take time.
Yes, ma'am.
And if I prioritize, hobbies would take a second priority. So I loved reading. I used to read a lot. And if I want to really relax, I don't want to read about anything space or technical, nothing. Just relax, read something, novels or something like that, or even spirituality, anything. You read about it.
Yes,
Reading was good. And I liked writing poems.
Okay.
So I used to write poems. Poetry.
I also love writing poems.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So nice. You write in English?
Yes, ma'am. I write in English, ma'am.
I always write in my mother tongue, Kannada.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
my English is not that good.
Ma'am, it is good, definitely.
I can manage, I can talk, but making a poetry in English, I cannot. So I used to do that and spend time with family members. Just if it becomes really impossible, just get away from everything. Couple of days, get away, and then settle down and sort out the issues.
Yes, ma'am.
Then recharge yourself and get back. So all these were my way of recharging. My hobbies were reading and
Ma'am, you love
Mainly.
reading novels.
novels and any kind spirituality. And I don't call them now. For example, do you call them as if you take Paulo Coelho's books? Do you read Alchemist? and all?
Alchemist, I read.
You read.
Yes,
It's not a novel.
Yes,
Okay, I mean, it's that kind of books I like very much.
kind of self-help books.
It makes you think.
Yes, ma'am.
It makes you think about some aspects. Richard Bach's books. Have you read Richard
No,
Bach's?
ma'am, I have not read that.
Okay, that is Jonathan Siegel.
No, ma'am, I have not.
You must read. I mean,
Okay.
it's so beautiful narration. I don't call them as novels. They are bestsellers and all that. But it makes you really think. Novels like Harper Lee, fantastic. I mean, I like books which makes you think,
Yes, ma'am.
about some aspect or the other, about life or society. I love those books, yeah.
Ma'am, now if I am from a very rural place and all, so childrens and most of the people are not aware of like how to get into ISRO. So how do you think government should take steps or make schemes so that more and more awareness should be there, so that we can get more scientists from like very rural place also?
I think lot of efforts are made on those things.
Yes, ma'am.
ISRO as an organization has done a lot about it. And there are websites in which all details are given, and when there is a vacancy, how interviews, and in every important newspapers in all languages, okay, in the India, the advertisements are put out. I don't think anybody can miss out on ISRO thing, and even if we don't speak, something will be there on ISRO in the newspapers.
Yes, ma'am.
But ISRO is a place where a lot of information is pushed out, and we have specific programs also to bring in awareness, science and space awareness programs are there, and we have created labs all over the country, several, I don't remember the number, where people can come and do their experiments, incubation centers and all. A lot of things are there. Yeah, ISRO has specifically taken that effort to go, and every center in its own capacity. We have centers all over. We had the center where I was working, satellite center, before I went to headquarters. We used to do, specific programs like, now Kannada Rajyotsava comes. November 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, instead of simply celebrating in a meaningless manner, just fun and frolic, that also can be there. But what we would do is bring all the government school children
Okay.
from rural areas, not
Okay.
city schools. From rural areas, we would bring them and then show them the things and then make some competitions for them, and they would also participate space related. So there will be some awareness. We had some exhibition area, we would take them and their curiosity will increase. That's one example I'm telling you. And in fact, I cannot forget in one of the Women's Day program, the then director, Dr. Alex, was there, and he said, let's not do it in a common way. Each of you who are from rural areas, office will arrange for your travel and all. You go to your rural areas and arrange with the schools, talk to them, okay, and then talk to children, so that women and the girls there will get motivated in science and all. Like this, we very consciously do many programs. So that science and space, technology, these things go into the curiosity of the children's minds.
Ma'am, how, like, what makes you inclined towards ISRO? Like, from starting only, your goal is to become scientist, or eventually you develop that interest?
How do you define start?
Ma'am, like class 8, 9, basically.
8th, 9th, I was, it was a very formative time for me. I was very good at science and mathematics, and I was very good at languages. I loved literature also, Sanskrit, Kannada, and English. Those literatures I loved very much. And on the other hand, science and mathematics was very much there. And when I was in high school, I also did, apart from the regular school curriculum, I did my Sanskrit classes, COVID and all I completed. Then that's when, by the time when I was in 10th, I had to decide whether I should go for literature or science. Then I realized that I have to do science and maths because I can't do without guidance. I have to have a proper science education. Then only I can gain that. Whereas on the other hand, probably I can pursue literature along with the science was my thinking. And I might not have become a great literary person, but I learned to enjoy literature. But that's how I continued with science. And then by the time I was in second PUC, when we had to take the call, I got seat in medical also and engineering also. In both best colleges I got. I was a good student and it was government seat also. So my father was inclined, then why don't you do medical? Then my elder sister is a doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
And during our house urgency, I used to go with her to the government hospitals and all. I mean, I knew that was not my inclination at all. I can't do that. And I knew engineering was my dream. And I could have taken PCM science stream also, but I liked applied sciences. I want to build. I want to learn. That was my way of doing it. So I took engineering, and while in engineering, we had industrial visits and all that. And we also had a visit to ISRO in Bangalore at that time, satellite center. I was very impressed going there. The people were so electrified. I mean, so much enthusiasm everywhere, and I loved it. It was love at first sight for me that I'm going to join here. And in fact, I joined to do my MS automation in Indian Institute of Science. I got a seat there too. But our university, those days, Bangalore University, exams would never get over on time. And our results came late. And when I joined, the classes had started already. They said, I can only join in the next term. Till then, you can do research. For me, in doing engineering and going, what is research? I mean, how am I going to do some research? I had no concept at all. Okay, I went to library several days trying to read, and it was overwhelming for me. Then I said, no, I cannot continue this way for 6 months. By the time I got my ISRO appointment letter, so I was waiting. I got appointment in all public sectors, Bell, BHJL, HJL, everywhere. But I didn't want to join anywhere there. I was waiting for ISRO. As soon as it came, I left institute and I joined there. There were opportunities in ISRO that we could go back and continue and do our masters too. So when that opportunity was there, I was in the midst of some very important project. I didn't want to leave it. I was enjoying it thoroughly. And so much I learned in ISRO, much more than any university I could learn. I said, what's the point? It's only to put a degree next to my name. I'm going to concentrate here and do. I don't want to take a break from what I'm doing. So the career went that way. So,
Ma'am, I just remember when I was a child, around class 7, 8, I was like very inclined towards space. So I want to become an astronaut. So one day my father is inclined towards MBBS. So he is a doctor. So he told me when you were born, the first day I thought you will be a doctor only. So I was like, one day I told that I want to be an astronaut. He told that you are telling wrong. It is not astronaut, it is astrologer. So he play with the words until astronaut doesn't exist, astrologer exists. So, and he used to tell me, what if you go on space, mid of the space ship burst out. So all those things, I was so scared. Then I decided, no, astronaut is not my cup of
it's a loss for ISRO. You would have joined ISRO otherwise.
Yes, ma'am. So after that, he told me that once I was inclined to engineering. So he told me two options you have. You take a drop or you join MBBS right now. But you have to join MBBS. But now, luckily I'm enjoying it right now.
Good. Yeah.
So ma'am, when I was a child, out of curiosity, we love to watch. Everyone loves to watch horror movies about aliens and all. So I was very inclined towards knowing more and more about aliens. So I remember there is a place in USA, I guess, where they just research for aliens. Very controversial place, I guess. And recently I heard about Pokhran UFO sightings are there. So what your point of view on aliens? Does they exist?
See, when we give an opinion, we must have a lot of facts with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we can give an opinion. There aren't enough facts.
Okay.
If I say there are aliens, what is my fact? What is my basis? What is the proof I have? Only thing is, the universe is so vast. You can't imagine you are the only living thing, something might be there. Apart from that, there is no concrete proof. And secondly, I can't say there are no aliens. How can I say?
Yes, ma'am.
There are no aliens. It's not possible.
Not possible.
So, I would like to keep my mind open about these things. I don't want to have a strong opinion about aliens are there or not there, which either way will be wrong, because I don't have substantial data with me to say one way or the other, right? Yeah.
Ma'am, do you think we should exploit extraterrestrial life? Because something should be left unexplored also. Will it be helpful for us if we know more and more about aliens?
You know what is dharma? Dharma.
Yes, ma'am.
Dharma is not Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim. Dharma means what is natural to you. What is your natural swabhav, jo hai na, that is dharma. So everything has got its dharma. For example, ice, it has to be cold. Correct? Steam is hot. It is its dharma. Animals have their own dharma. What they eat, how they breed, how they live, defined. They don't go beyond it. Except humans. We can define our dharma. Because we have thinking capacity and the brain power and imaginary power, imagination power. Okay, these are there with us. Curiosity is there with us. And exploration is the basic dharma, the basic nature of human beings. You cannot stop it.
Yes, ma'am.
If you go against what is your dharma, it is wrong.
Okay.
Exploration by nature is part of us humans. We will not stop doing it. There is nothing like good or bad. We explored mountains, we explored oceans, we explored lands, we are exploring universe. We'll explore everything. That's the way we are.
Yes, ma'am.
We will do it. There's no question of good or bad.
Yes, ma'am.
Having explored, don't do bad things. Is it not?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it is a very lame question, but I want to ask you. Like when we are born, my grandmother and all, they take like they hota hai na ki the position of suns and all will affect your life.
Horoscope.
Yeah, horoscope. Ma'am, do you believe in horoscopes?
Unfortunately, no. But I appreciate their the Panchanga. Panchanga is nothing but astronomy. The position of the heavenly bodies are so clearly predicted. And they have also predicted with lot of accumulated knowledge and data when it will rain, when it will not rain, when it is going to be cold, everything. Fantastic what has been done. Astronomy is a novel. Sorry, astrology, not astronomy. Astrology, I don't believe.
And,
Because, impact of Mars, Jupiter on us. I mean, we know now what is Jupiter, what is Mars, what is Sun. We know it, right? So, I mean, as scientists, as science students, it's hard to believe such things. Okay, there are many things that come in the cultures, it goes on with that. But slowly it's all fading out, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it will fade out because more and more people are getting exposed to science and reality and truths. These things will take a backseat.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, coming to the end of the podcast, I just want to ask, like, after 8 years of your experience in ISRO, now, at this point of life, what drives you? What you want to do? What you are looking forward in life right now?
No, final thing is, like they say, anayasena maranam. Do you know Sanskrit?
Ma'am, I have learned Sanskrit in 10th, but I don't know.
Vina dainyena jivitam. That's what we want, everybody. Means an easy end to life, okay, without struggling, and to live independently without being under the control of anybody else is what I look forward to at the end. And as long as I am living, I want to enjoy every bit of it. Try to learn something every day, something new. Okay, that gives me immense happiness. It's thousands of years, eons, people have been wondering why we are born, why we die, where we go and all that. They don't care. And, there are two fixed points. We are born and we're going to die. In between that, how to be happy and satisfied. That's the most important thing. If we do that, just trying to be happy and satisfied. Satisfied is also very important. Because just being happy can lead you to greed sometimes. Yeah, and you need to be satisfied and let people around you also be happy. So that's the best life I can think of. I want to do that. My way of doing is learning new things continuously. Try to keep on learning. How much ever stupid it looks, learn. Okay, and it gives a great pleasure to me. And that's what I look for.
So, what is your advice for budding scientists right now? From your 38 years of experience, what do you feel like they should be doing from the starting of their career only?
Sorry?
Ma'am, what
they should be doing?
No, what is your advice to the budding scientists or the youth generation who are aiming to become a scientist from your experience till now?
See, one eternal truth is there. Scientist has to be truthful.
Okay.
You cannot be a scientist just to make sure that people read your articles. Cannot be a scientist because people want to hear you talking or putting your ideas onto them. A scientist is a truthful person. He goes into the actual essence of whatever he is trying to do. That should be embedded in each young scientist who is going to be there to be truthful to themselves and then keep on pursuing and making things better and better. Okay, and keep mind open. You cannot form an opinion immediately. Your opinion should be based on facts and analysis. That has to be the basic step for any scientist.
Yes, ma'am.
He has to be doing that. And he should be expanding his mind, he or she, continuous reading, getting more information from all over. Aajkal though it is so easy, at fingertips you have information.
Yes,
if you don't use the fingertips, also very difficult. No?
ma'am.
So you have to. When we were young, when we had to take up assignments and do those things and to know how to do it, only there were two ways. Go to library and read the journals, hours together,
Yes, ma'am.
and then or the next step is go in search of somebody who has done in that field and talk to them, learn from them and do. These were the two ways. Today it is so easy. Information is available. Just because it is easily available, you can't take it for granted. You have to imbibe it. You have to assimilate it. You have to make it yours, that information, right? So the continuous expansion of mind, being truthful, is most important to be a scientist.
That's a great advice. And thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining us in our podcast. We love
Thank you.
talking to you. Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
ma'am.
I enjoyed too, Mriga.
Thanks a lot.
All
ma'am.
the best for you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.